Robert. Oh, sorry, when you done.
Yeah, so them ones with the A, Robert. Okay.
Yeah.
I said that London's a bit distracting for me, so I was invited to train with Team Usyk. So I've been in Spain. We've been doing some good training out in Spain, and I think he's one of the best in the world. Not I think he is one of the best in the world, and it's not all down to him. It's also.
I think he can.
Yeah.
And that's what I do think he can. I'm not saying he will, but I do think he can if everything's right. I do think he certainly can.
That's interesting. Because I was curious, I was going to put Fabio Wardley into the equation because the big thing about Fabio, and we'll talk about Fabio Wardley in a bit later on.
Has to be Wardley done it because he has the belts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Belts.
And the problem you got then as well.
Back to how someone who's achieved so much has been phenomenal, man.
Anthony Joshua is training with Oleksandr Usyk before his fight with Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua respects Usyk greatly and sees him as someone who has achieved so much and is regarded as one of the greatest. Training in that environment gives him the focus he needs and pushes him to improve as he prepares for the Jake Paul fight.
I do know someone, I think he's at that stage of his career where he's trying to rediscover a little bit of that confidence. He's gone to Oleksandr Usyk, where we're hearing reports he's out there training with Usyk and the team, trying to pick up something, trying to rediscover something.
That's very strange, Paul, isn't it?
It is, but it's not unheard of. I've heard of a lot of fighters doing that. You see fighters, obviously, it's the old Rocky movies years ago, but you see a fighter losing to someone, all of a sudden they go in the camp and they start training and do a little bit together and become friends or whatever else. I think it'll do Joshua no harm travelling, but as you say, he's a little bit long in the tooth and he's a bit on the back nine rather than the front nine where that experience would really come into play. But I'm just looking at his record here. He obviously, after the Usyk fight, he's come back and he had 3 fights and then the Ngannou demolition
Well,
job.
yeah, Jermaine Franklin, he had Robert Helene, he had Otto Wallin, and he smashed Ngannou, which everyone went hallelujah for, right?
Yeah, but he's obviously not in like the box rec rankings to see where he is. But the Dubois fight is a fight where what you've just said then, Spencer, like match him right. I felt he was matched right with Dubois. That's just my opinion.
Just
obviously, I was wrong on that and I was proved wrong, but I felt like Joshua would have and should have came through that, but he obviously didn't. So therefore, it's back to the drawing board, and where do you go from there? What do you do from there? Does he keep the same team around him? Does he go and find someone new and try and adapt and add to his repertoire already? And this move at Usyk, I don't know what it'll be, but if he's fighting before Christmas, then he needs to get in shape quick because there's only 8 weeks to go, let's say.
Well, my understanding, he's in camp, he's in shape, and just looking to getting out and get back to winning ways is my understanding. That's why they're talking about 8-rounders.
Yeah.
He wants to sort of go under the radar a little bit, and it's difficult for someone like Anthony Joshua because he's such a commercial commodity.
He's always been in shape all the time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He always will be in shape. He's never, ever not been...
But it's not about his physical shape, is it? No one's ever questioned his physical state. Zach, when I was talking about Anthony Joshua, and I know that the president of his fan club is here in Spencer, but I talked about the PTSD issue post various fights, whether it be the Oleksandr Usyk or the Daniel Dubois situation. But prior to Daniel Dubois, I always maintained that I felt that despite the performance against Jermaine Franklin, despite the performance against Robert Helenius, which had been blasted out by Deontay Wilder, and we've seen what...
Training alongside experienced figures in Usyk's camp, Anthony Joshua works on a variety of techniques designed to enhance his offense and defense. Observers note that Joshua consistently seeks to make himself better, whether through footwork, timing, or combinations. His approach is methodical yet adaptable, allowing him to experiment with different styles in a controlled setting. The camp provides opportunities to train against partners who simulate real fight conditions, helping him remain sharp and ready. With the fight date approaching, every session becomes crucial in building both physical strength and mental focus. Joshua's regimen reflects his understanding that preparation and innovation are key in boxing.
Okay, so but let's talk about what this means for AJ. He's going to Team Usyk. I think personally that is with one eye on the Fury fight there. Like he's like, you clocked Fury. You completely understand everything about him. You fought him twice. You know every weakness. And I need to learn as much as I can from you in a short space of time. It's obviously not for a fucking Jake Paul fight. I think it's more about the Fury fight than it is about Ben Davison having know people like Wardley. I think that's actually the real reason. However, I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Joshua versus Wardley if AJ can get his mind right.
I believe that's in Feb. I believe that will be the next, because it makes the most sense. When you're trying to match make, I know Frank Warren does not want to put his fighters in together. It makes sense. And the money, we can go straight back to Wembley and then actually, let's imagine that AJ does beat Fabio. Now we're talking about Fury versus AJ for a belt again. Yeah. It's perfect. So, and this is, I honestly feel this is the road that we're taking. Can I ask you though, do you think they're going to let Fabio
in there with AJ before they get the biggest fight possible. Like, they've already fucked up AJ Fury enough times. That's a big risk, right?
Well, the thing is, there's no safe route to a big fight anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? And the fact is, Fabio Wardley will be absolutely down for that fight because that's the biggest payday
That motherfucker's game as fuck.
Yeah, but it's like, even just on the note of AJ with, you know, the 5th trainer of his career so far, I think he's just disconnected from the idea that I'm going to have a trainer that me and him, and we're buddies and we're tight and we're in the pocket together. I think he's done with that. It's almost like modern basketball teams where they're not loyal to their teams anymore. They trade and they bounce around. The best situation, they just take it. I think he's looking at it like, I'll do a bit of time with you, bit of time with you. We don't need to be best friends and pretend like we've got this father-son relationship. Piss off, bro.
He's
Teach
sponging.
me what you want.
Sponging,
and I'm out.
He's sponging as much as he can up from each individual trainer.
As boxers, do you not think...
Analyst True Geordie points out that Joshua joining Usyk's camp is not just about Jake Paul. The focus extends beyond the immediate fight to what comes next, particularly facing Tyson Fury. Usyk has faced Fury twice and possesses deep insight into his techniques and strategies. Joshua's time in this camp is partly dedicated to learning from that experience, absorbing lessons that could shape future bouts. By observing Usyk's training methods and adapting elements of his style, Joshua positions himself to respond effectively in the ring. The preparation is deliberate, aiming to strengthen not only his skills, but also his strategic understanding of elite-level boxing. Joshua's presence in Usyk's camp provides him with an opportunity to absorb lessons from a fighter who has faced elite opponents. Usyk's experience with Tyson Fury offers insight into techniques, movement, and adaptability that can be applied in Joshua's broader career. While the immediate fight with Jake Paul is important, the training also equips Joshua for future high-level matchups. By observing Usyk's methods, sparring routines, and strategic planning, Joshua benefits from knowledge that extends beyond the present bout. This approach demonstrates foresight, discipline, and a commitment to growth that is characteristic of top-tier professional athletes.
Records saying that you and AJ must retire if Jake Paul wins on December 19th. Stand by that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, oh, I suppose so. Shit, yeah. Look, I don't see a world where Jake Paul wins this fight. I know that boxing's boxing. And I mean, what was it? Roy Jones came out this morning and said Jake Paul can win this fight.
Teddy Atlas as well.
Teddy Atlas? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, now I'm a bit worried. I won't retire. AJ should retire if he loses now.
Sorry.
No, I see AJ winning this fight with ease, comprehensively, destructively, violently, and I don't see a world where Jake Paul is competitive in the fight, let alone win the fight. But luckily, AJ's not preparing in a way that he just thinks it's a joke. He's preparing for Jake Paul like he's a world title contender. Yes, it's been a little bit of a shorter camp. Yes, we've got to make weight this time around, but it doesn't matter. We should just slide through this guy and bash him up and beat him up, and we should do it early doors.
Just lastly, you said as well that you told Nikisa that he was weighing 290 when you were negotiating. What impact did that have? Did you feel like they would have gone even lower if they knew he was weighing 265?
No, I mean, I don't think that when you're negotiating on a weight, there's not one promoter in the world that would tell the truth about what the weight of the fighter was, and Nikisa knows that anyway. So it wasn't like we were being clever, but they wanted him to come to 240. And it's just, don't forget, AJ's never made weight before. So all of a sudden, he's tried. He'd been in camp for, 2 or 3 weeks, and he's probably sitting at, 260, 265. And it's like,
Eddie Hearn has spoken about the high stakes surrounding Anthony Joshua's upcoming fight with Jake Paul. He explains that a loss in this bout could potentially signal the end of Joshua's career, making retirement a serious consideration. Despite this, Hearn expresses full confidence in Joshua's skills and preparation, emphasizing that boxing is far from a casual sport. Joshua approaches every fight with professionalism, and his focus on this match is no different. He is treating Jake Paul as a serious opponent, dedicating himself to disciplined training and rigorous preparation. In Spain, working with Usyk's team, Joshua hones his technique, sharpens his reflexes, and strengthens his stamina. Each drill, sparring session, and exercise reinforces his awareness of how crucial precision and control are, as even a small error could have significant consequences in the ring. Hearn's commentary highlights Joshua's commitment to the sport and his measured professional mindset. Despite the unusual circumstances of facing a high-profile crossover fighter like Jake Paul, Joshua maintains his focus, discipline, and respect for the fight. His preparation reflects a blend of strategic intelligence, physical readiness, and mental focus, ensuring he is fully equipped to handle the challenges this bout presents.
Heavyweight champion of the world, has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about that. Not to mention the technical abilities or experience. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist, remember, from back in the day, who's then gone on to become a true British boxing icon, or a worldwide boxing icon, let's be honest, right? There's no way that he loses to Jake Paul, unless it's an exhibition match. Now, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, came out and said, we are not interested in an exhibition match. We only want a professional rules fight.
And how would it work? Would it be an exhibition?
No exhibition. So we're not interested in exhibition. It's a real fight. It's a cruiserweight moving up to heavyweight. We were going to have an 8-round fight this year on an undercard somewhere, very obscure. We didn't expect that to be against Jake Paul, but it just so happens that if it is, it's for 50 times more money.
Well, that's just crazy straight away. Eddie Hearn is chatting some there, because this shouldn't be a sanctioned bout. Sanctioning Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is almost as bad as sanctioning Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul. And remember, the commissions weren't going to do that, and then eventually they had to pull the plug. I did a video on this. Apparently, some allegedly, I don't know the whole story, some domestic abuse stuff. I don't know the details. I don't want to get into it. It's disgusting, whatever it is. But the fight's not going ahead. But apparently the commissions were very, very hesitant to license it anyway, right? Because of the weight discrepancy, because that's what Jake Paul always does. But I will say that Anthony Joshua, that walks around 265, 270 pounds, he's going to have 50 pounds give or take on Jake Paul. I haven't gone away and looked up Jake Paul. If he's fighting Anthony Joshua, he's probably going to come in at about 220 pounds. Maybe he bulks up, maybe gets on a real good strength and conditioning routine and takes in loads of protein and gets the best nutritionist on planet Earth and goes up to 225. Right? Maybe he does. Maybe he becomes a proper fat bastard and just gets on the beers and the pies, right? And comes in at 230. Regardless, it's not going to be an athletic 230, and it's still going to be roughly, give or take, a 40-pound weight difference, 30 pounds, 35 pounds, whatever it is. It's a big weight disadvantage. Now, my guess is that this will probably end up being an exhibition matchup. And if it is,
Michael Bisping has weighed in on the physical disparity between Joshua and Paul. He highlights that there is no way Jake Paul can absorb the type of punches Joshua delivers. Bisping points to Joshua's previous performance against fighters like Francis Ngannou, noting that even a much larger and more experienced opponent was unable to withstand his power. This comparison emphasizes Joshua's ability to dominate in terms of strength and precision. The expectation is clear. Joshua's power, technique, and experience make him a formidable opponent in any matchup. Paul faces a challenge unlike anything he has experienced before.